Welcome to Book Club no Kiseki. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Howe.
And I'm Matt Jorgensen.
And the segment of Falcom's Kiseki series that we're playing today is the prologue of The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. But before we get started, what did you guys get up to this week?
I had a great week. This morning I got my first COVID shot. My left arm hurts, and it's probably going to hurt worse tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
And other than that, I've been trying out intermittent fasting for my health, and I feel great.
Good.
Like, I feel fantastic. I've been doing it for 5 days, and ever since day 3, I've felt fantastic. So,
yeah. What is the schedule of intermittent fasting?
Well, technically I'm doing a 16-8, but it ends up being more like a 17-7 or a 17.5, 6.5. Mm-hmm. I'm already tempted to try going longer, though. Nice. Try a 24-hour fast. I've been reading this really interesting book about weight gain and weight loss and stuff. And I don't want to say the title because I don't want to be someone jumping in on a podcast saying, check out this cool weight loss book.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting. And it's got lots of science and shit in it. And I'm learning a whole lot. And so I'm trying out this intermittent fasting. I'm going to be making some subtle dietary changes bit by bit, hoping to improve my health. I already got my COVID vaccine, so I don't need to be fat anymore.
Oh, yeah. Now that you got that loophole taken care of, you're done with it. But nice. What about you, Matt?
Oh, boy. What did I do this week? A whole bunch, and it feels like nothing. I got the new Story of Seasons game. It's pretty good.
Hell yeah.
The new Arcanines event is alive. I'm very bad at it because it requires ground units, and I don't do that. And what else?
I still don't know anything about Arcanines. I downloaded it, and its UI is probably the best UI I've seen in a free-to-play game on the telephone. But I didn't even start the tutorial mission. I just looked at the UI, and then I was like, oh, I'll come back to this later, and then I didn't.
You're not the first person to say that to me. And also, I blame none of you. It's a game that is a lot, with a capital and a capital lot. And there was one other thing I was talking about earlier, but I don't remember what it was. Nope, it's gone.
Your Warhammer army? You played Warhammer for the first time?
Oh yeah, I played Warhammer for the first time last week. That went terribly. I'm not good at that game.
Nice. I am, I DM for D&D, and I think that it would be too much for me to play a Warhammer game. It looks like too much for me, and I'm in charge of remembering all of the rules for the entire world at a time in D&D, and I can't do Warhammer. It just looks like too much.
If I had to compare it to anything, and it is very similar to D&D, except instead of you're in control of your one character, instead you're in control of the whole party.
Okay.
So once you hit a certain level of understanding of the core rules, because the core rules themselves aren't the complicated part. It's probably simpler than Magic in that there's 4 phases: move, psychic, command, fight, and whatever they call cleanup. I'm going to call it cleanup. But it is then taking each individual faction's rules and layering on those on top of the core rules that make it complicated. And in my infinite wisdom, I decided to pick the second most complicated army to play in the game.
Hell yeah. Go big or go home.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. The second codex I picked up is for the most complicated army. So I'm all in.
Oh yeah.
And I got a pair of 2s. Let's do this.
Nice. If you're interested in what I was up to this week, the answer is Story of Seasons and building a computer. But I'll go into that on the main podcast. The focus is you guys on this one because you guys don't have a main podcast where you get to talk about your week.
Yeah.
I know on Longcast, Bernard got real sad that we couldn't ask him how his week goes. So now both of you have an outlet.
I got performatively sad.
Yes. But yeah, let's listen to some music from this game. Probably the forest music. It's really nice. I like it. And then we'll talk about the plot for this week. So once the prologue starts, Joshua, Estelle, and Shara are all at the airport wishing Cassius off, and they banter a lot. Cassius is sorry for shirking his responsibilities, but everyone understands. He boards his boat, and Estelle is a little sad that her dad is leaving. So to cheer up, we decide to jump right in and see what jobs we have at the Bracer Guild. The first one is disposing of some monsters attacking our childhood friend Tio's family farm. The monsters have been eating their crops and only come out at night, so we spend the evening with them. It's really chill. After dinner, Estelle and Tio kiki about boys, and Tio mentions how amazing Joshua is, and how he's popular with all of the girls, and Estelle has no clue about that. And then Tio mentions how Joshua keeps turning down girls left and right because he's probably sweet on someone, and Estelle is like, OMG who? And Tio is like, Jesus Christ, I was trying to like drop a hint for you, you dumbass. So Joshua calls and says that it's time to go and fight the monsters. And so Estelle tries to ask him who he's sweet on by asking if he has any secrets. But as we established last week, Joshua is a man of many secrets. So he dodges the question, and their love once again passes like ships in the night. And they both don't realize how much they love each other. This is a recurring theme for this game.
This is where I'm going to jump in and say, this is the episode reminder that they're not actually related.
Yes. For the actual monster killing bit, it's just checking everywhere and then killing the monster at the end of your investigation. When it's all said and done, you have all the monsters caught, and Joshua asks Estelle if she's going to kill them, and Estelle convinces not to. She says that they've learned the reason, so there doesn't need to be bloodshed because the monsters are probably afraid of getting the ass beat again. But Joshua is like really, really mad that he doesn't get to kill them, but eventually does let it go. Afterwards, go ahead.
The people who hired them are also like, yeah, we can let them go. That's fine. And Joshua's like, ugh, but my people must.
But I need to kill something. But sorry, I accidentally scrolled too far. So after you let everything go, Joshua's beat up about the whole thing. He's like, oh, I must be a cold-hearted asshole to want to kill monster kitties like that. And Estelle yells at him and is like, stop it with this whole Sasuke/Vegeta/ Yamato, etc. thing. I had to use his Japanese name because I can't just call him Matt, because there's a Matt on here.
I'm here.
You're cutting into my Digimon references. But he says that he's not broken. His real problem is that he bottles everything up, and so since he shared it with her, that's a win in her book. And it's real cute. It's a lot like the scene from last week where Estelle was down and Joshua cheers them up. They're definitely each other's confidants, and I like it a lot. The next job that we get is from the mayor. He says that they found some really valuable septium in the mine, and he wants us to go and get it from the miners so we can bring it back to him. So we do that. In the mine, they find a monster nest, so we have to save the miners by fighting some mobs, but there's not a whole lot going on with this quest. When you bring the thing back to the mayor, he has some girl from the Genus Royal Academy with him named Josette. She speaks all hoity-toity and says that she's there to study cultural assets. So the mayor is like, Estelle, Joshua, show this person who didn't pass a background check this incredibly rare jewel. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. And he then, after she's like drooling at the mouth for seeing the rare septium, he locks it up tight in his safe. And we head back to the guild.
And it should be noted that the point of this septium is it's going to be a gift for the Queen's 60th birthday. So it's very important to the political situation in Roland.
Yes.
Well, and it's
Roland. Go ahead.
I was gonna make a pithy remark about it being very important for strong women to get what they want on their 60th. We just did my mom's a couple of years ago, and she got you get them what they want.
Did you get her an extremely rare vein of septium?
I got her a stuffed unicorn, but it was a large one. It's a family joke.
Okay. Same thing. Mm-hmm. So he locks the septium up tight in his safe, and we head back to the guild. And this next quest I like a lot. It doesn't have a whole lot going on, like, quest-wise. That's kind of like the running theme for this game. Is it's like we are gifted with a task, and the task is boring, and doing the task is just playing a JRPG. So once that's out of the way, we then can talk about all the cool shit that we are doing around it, where we're talking and learning things about the world and hanging out with friends. Because the quest is we just have to escort people to the top of Ismelis Tower, and we do that. But on the way there, the people we have to take are Niall and Dorothy. They are recurring characters. Spoilers, this is their first time showing up. They come back. But they're recurring characters. They're the ones that are writing the liberal news that we could have read last week. And they're doing the big story on the Queen's birthday and everything. And so they want a big picture of the region from the top of the Ismelis Tower. And so it's our job to escort them up there.
I love them. I love them so much.
They are so good. Niall is drunk, as he should be, but he also has like the gumshoe, private eye, hard-boiled journalist detective trope going on, where he's like always asking the hard-hitting questions and getting to the bottom of things while being drunk. And Dorothy is a nutcase, and I love her. But so we go up the Ismelis Tower. The dungeon is pretty good. This is where I was talking about last week, how the dungeon was great, and then I remembered we didn't actually go up into it yet. But the dungeon itself is like 4 or 5 or 6 floors of that have a central platform and pathways around them, and the way that the pathways connect and everything are not just straightforward, and so you have to do a lot of looping around and going up in the right spot and stuff, and I really like it.
I kind of don't like this game's dungeons because I have an extremely bad sense of direction, an extremely bad ability to map things in my brain. So the way the camera is and the fact that I have to rotate it around all the time in order to see, I get lost. And I can't remember which ways I've gone and which ways I've not gone. In fully 3D games, this isn't really a problem for me. Mm-hmm. But this weird 2.5D-ish thing, it's messing me up.
Yeah. Do you have your mini-map on rotate?
No, I do not. I hate rotating mini-maps.
I think it would be helpful here because then your north will always rotate with you. And so that will give you a North Star that you can follow at all times.
Well, in the dungeons are where I have trouble, and because you don't have a mini map there.
You have the mini map bubble, but not the actual map. But the North button is still on it, I believe.
Yeah,
that's what I was using.
Yeah, it still shows you which way north is.
Yeah, so with it rotating, it will give you. Yeah, if you put it on rotate, that will give you something to follow, and it might help. You can turn it back off when you leave to a place with an actual mini map, and just use it as a compass inside the dungeons.
I mean, it still works as a compass inside the dungeons, even when it's not on rotate. It just, I don't know. I'll have to see if I can get used to using that.
Yeah, because if you put it on a rotating mini map, then when you rotate your camera, it'll tell you like relatively where you were going at each time. With it not rotating, it's always at the top, and you just see where your body was, and that's not as exact, but might be worth a shot. Anywho, at the tippity top of the tower, there is a suspicious someone there. He is Professor Alba, who's researching ancient cultures. He's looking for information about the Septillions, which are ancient treasures handed down by the gods to the ancient civilization of the region before it collapsed. He thinks that one of the Septillions, called the, I believe it's pronounced Areola, is in Liberal somewhere, and he's trying to find it.
There are some weird words in this game.
Yeah,
I'm proud of myself that the word that got me was not areola; it was septillion. Like that's a silly name. That's a cartoon name for, I don't know.
Well, septillion is a non-cartoon name for the seventh power past billion or past million.
Okay, listen.
So
math is a construct.
Looking for the Septera
Yes,
Septera.
But yeah, it's not actually the areola. That's nipple. It's the areole, but it's way too close to areola, so that's what it is forever.
I have to look that up because I absolutely read that as areola.
It's not that exactly.
It's not exactly areola. But we get a cool Legend of Dragoon hangout and chill portion where you just get to talk to everybody and see what's going on. And none of them are that important. Niall mentions rumors of sky pirates in the region. And Joshua says that as soon as he got to the roof, he started feeling really sick, and he doesn't understand why. So after Dorothy gets her pictures, we make our way back to the guild to report, and Shara is there. The mayor runs in and says that there's been a burglary at his house. He had stepped out for a few minutes, came back, and his office was ransacked, and his family was tied up in the attic. So we head there, and the safe has been busted open, and the septium is, of course, missing. Shara goes to grill the witnesses, and we are sent to gather the evidence. This is a pixel hunting scene that, even though I've done it, I think this is my third or fourth time doing it, I still couldn't remember all of the pixels I had to hunt. But you click on everything, and you eventually find that someone came in from the balcony, locked the family in the attic where they dropped a leaf, and they used some sort of powder to crack the safe code, and none of the other valuables in the room were actually taken. So it was ransacked to cover the fact that they were just there to grab the septium.
Joshua suddenly goes fucking Sherlock Holmes on the safe. It's wild.
Yeah.
He's like, well, clearly they used a fine powder, and if the powder were applied at this point and you touched it like this and this happened and you would be able to... I'm like, whoa, the fuck, slow the fuck down.
Yeah,
You're 16.
I was when I was playing this, I was like, shouldn't we find... we're teenagers. Shouldn't we find somebody who's maybe done this before? I was like, oh.
Yeah, this is literally our first day on the job.
We're junior bracers. We can do this.
This is our first day. But we have Joshua. The magic does everything. He's the
super high school level detective.
He's
Yes.
the sonic screwdriver of party members.
Yeah. So we tell Cher what we found and our conclusion that it was definitely Josette who took the septium. So we head off to find her. If you had investigated earlier, you knew that she was at the hotel. Otherwise, it just comes up in dialogue that she was at the hotel. But when you go there, she's gone, and you talk to the front desk, and he's like, oh, she said she had to go and catch her flight. So you head to the airport, and the guy's like, oh, she's never been here. And Estelle's like, wait, the leaf we found is from the trees in the Mistwald Forest down south. So she probably has like a base there or something. And so we head off down there. And the forest dungeon is really big compared to everything else we've done so far. It doesn't give you a map. I got really lost, but it's not terribly hard. I did the thing where like you take only right-hand turns and eventually you'll get to the end. Like that's how I do JRPG dungeons all the time, except I missed one of the turns. So I kept taking right-hand turns until I left out the entrance. And I was so confused because I had accidentally just skipped one. But at the back of the dungeon, we see Josette cohorting with some bandits, and suddenly her hoity-toity accent is completely gone. And she's bragging about how she stole the septium from those stupid, idiot, ugly bracers and was laughing her ass off about it. So Estelle, of course, takes offense and charges in to fight them. And Josette reveals that she is part of the Capua family, and we get a boss fight. I had been saving my CP because the mobs have been trivial, so I've just been holding down the speed and attack button to just tear through the fights. So then my CP was maximum, so I just hit her with 3 limit breaks and killed her as soon as the battle started. But how was the fight for you guys?
Oh, pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I didn't find the mobs trivial. I actually had some hard times this week, but I didn't find this boss particularly tough.
I don't know if it's something in the evolution version or if I'm playing on like baby difficulty or the DLCs, which just give you like gold and Sepith and stuff. Like maybe your stats are tied more to your quartz than I thought or something. But every mob has only hit like 1 or 0 HP off of me until I get to a boss fight, or I stumble upon the monster in a box. It's like it one shot my entire party. And the evolution version doesn't have the thing that you guys does, where it makes it easier every time you die, so that you can't get stuck in the bottom of a dungeon. So I just had to hopefully survive long enough for someone to run away from that fight. But other than that, I was barely taking any damage the whole week.
See, mobs for me were doing like 35 damage on a good day. So, yeah. I was having a harder time.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I was taking in the 10 to 15 damage range. But there's an interesting thing, and I'm going to try really hard for this not to be a spoiler. But considering the last Kiseki game I played was Trails of Cold Steel 3, the combat systems are very iterative. So, like, in my brain, in my head, I found myself just, oh, okay, I need to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And this game, being the first game in a series, has just been, baby's first telephone.
Yeah.
I hit the buttons, and the sound happens, and then I'm done.
Yeah, the evolution version, it makes a lot of changes to the basic battle system, which I really like. But I don't like it enough to recommend it over the other. It's not like like for Persona 4, it's like, no, don't play the PS2 version. You have to find a Vita to play it. It's not the same level here. I still think that the PC version is a little bit better, but some of the things they add is like everyone's special move has a buff or debuff attached to it. And a lot of quartz will have multiple effects. So they're like, oh, this is an earth one that will up your defense, but also you can see monsters on the field on your mini map type thing. And so it has a lot more stuff going on there, which also makes it a lot easier.
I still might be interested in checking that out to see if it's an offshoot iteration of the combat system, or if it has more things that were incorporated in later games.
Yeah, it is specifically the like lifted straight from the Crossbell games.
Gotcha.
They,
okay.
like, took the stuff from there and adapted it backwards.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a little bit of lipstick on a pig for it, where it's like, obviously it wasn't designed around this, and it makes the game way too easy, but it does make the battles a little more depthy. But after the boss fight, we take our crystal back, but before we can arrest Josette, an airship swoops down, and her goons get on board and fly off. So we head back, return the crystal to the mayor, and go and report at the guild. But while we're talking about it, the red phone starts ringing. It's Aina goes to answer it, and it's the guild in the neighboring region of Bose who report that an airliner called the Lind, those words got all smushed together, the Airlander, has gone missing, and worse, Cassius Bright was on board, and so now he is a missing person. And my notes literally say dun dun dun, which is hilarious.
It's very nearly the case that they're like, I sure hope Dad is okay, and then the call comes in saying he's missing. It's almost to that level.
Well, see, here's the thing. In the great JRPG canon, you know something was going to happen to him because he's a good dad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He is a parental figure who is alive at the beginning of a game. His days are numbered, man.
Yep.
But yeah, as for extra shit this week, there were a lot of side quests, but none of them were really that interesting. Like, a lot of them were fun and had some good character moments, but none of them were like a good like side plot. So we're not going to do an extra shit section unless you guys had something that you wanted to talk about for it.
There's the part where the troops need to train, and you go kick their asses because they're
troops and they're no
pathetic. Good. And it's just like, oh my god, we're 16 years old. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
There's that. I don't know.
Yeah, that one was on my maybe bring it up. Otherwise, there's some monster exterminations. You go looking for mushrooms. You repair a street light. You find a lost item, and you find a lost kitty cat, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I would specify is there are a lot of really good character moments that.
Yeah.
I mean, and almost goes without saying with this series, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the novels and the better side quests will start picking up in chapter 1, which we'll get to next week. So now let's listen to the boss fight music that we were treated to this week, and then we will talk about our memorable moments.
zooming.
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
You were not letting these characters breathe.
I really wasn't.
you were going Estelle speed.
Yeah, because what happened was I had to maximize my window to see the timeline button. So I left it maximized and then brought up my notes, but then that covered up the thingy. So I had no semblance of time because I have ADHD and time just it can't be consistent for me.
Time isn't real anyway.
Yeah,
It's really not. I felt like I was taking forever and covering too much shit. So
I mean, to be fair, other than like specific character moments and very small specific character moments, I don't think there was a whole lot in this section to really, put under the microscope.
yeah.
We're still just sort of getting to know everyone.
Yeah. Well, I'll add in more shit next time because I was like summing up character moments because I figured we wouldn't have enough time. But yeah, now that I'm looking at it, this was 3 pages of notes. It's barely anything.
That's less than last week.
Yeah. So, whoopsies. Anyways, I guess we'll start doing our mid-moms now.
Yeah.
Maybe I should pull up the Let's Play and pick more because there are a lot of good bits.
I have one right away that I absolutely loved because I had to do it twice.
All right, go for it.
Because I accidentally disconnected. Anyway, in the mine, you have the option to ride the mine cart or not ride the mine cart. Completely unnecessary. It doesn't really change anything.
Wait, you cannot ride the minecart? You can walk?
I'm pretty sure. It says ride the minecart, don't ride the minecart.
I thought don't ride the minecart would just be like, okay, you stay here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe that is how it is. It looked to me in the screen like you could just walk past it.
I thought there was a little fence, at least in my version.
There might have
At the
been.
minecart, there's a fence, but I think there is a platform later that you can walk past, but I didn't even try to ride that platform.
Oh, yeah.
So
Because why would you not ride the minecart? Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm always a huge fan of dumb minecart scenes in every piece of medium because they're always unnecessary and absolutely not how minecarts work.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that too while I was in the mines. I was like, yeah, I feel that real mines are probably scary and boring and are not people just zooming around on minecarts all the time. But yet Donkey Kong and Zelda and this game all make me think. Oh, and Dragon Quest V even. There's just a lot of good minecart content. And
Super Mario RPG.
Now that you are in the Badger State, you will have the opportunity to see many a mine, because that is why, fun fact, that is why we're called the Badger State. Because we had lots of mines, and, alright, this is going to be your mining information for the week.
go for it.
The peak of technology for when our state was being established was either what is called a bell mine, where they would just dig straight down and then make kind of a beaker shape, right? Where they would just mine out in a ball back up to the ground. And as they would wheel people up, because they'd use these great big winches with these giant buckets full of ore, they'd come out and the helmets would protect your eyes from the dust, but not the rest of your face, and you would look like a badger. There's actual pictures of it in a town not too far from where I grew up of, 4 or 5 guys hanging onto this edge of the bucket, and they all look like an actual badger. Thus the Badger State.
Cute. I thought it was the fact that there were badgers everywhere.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, there are not as many badgers as you think.
Okay.
I did not know that Wisconsin was called the Badger State. And when you said to Sam, now that you're in the Badger State, my mind processed it as state of being, as if Sam is badger pilled or something.
Yeah.
You're slowly becoming the Badger.
Yeah. Aang enters the Avatar state. I enter the Badger state.
You lose a neck, but you get really long claws. It's a trade-off.
Yeah, and then I just don't give a fuck.
But if you actually look at our state flag, the two people standing on it are both minors.
Oh.
I have not looked at our state flag because every state flag except for Texas sucks.
You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong.
Speaking of minors, I have a memorable moment.
Hell yeah.
So you know how the main characters in this game are minors? This moment was memorable, not in a good way. Shara sure does suddenly reveal a new aspect of her personality, which is that she's extremely horny, and she's extremely horny for her 16-year-old student. And it's fucked up.
I remember the first time getting there where I just read it as like she's just horny all the time for everyone. Like that feels like an anime trope, but I didn't internalize that these were 16-year-olds.
Yeah. And she's their mentor.
Yeah.
But it's sort of weird how she was introduced in the pre-prologue, and there was no hint of her being horny, but now suddenly she's in the real prologue, and she's like fighting with a whip, and when you do her special, she says, "Someone's been naughty," and when you win the battle, she blows a kiss, and I'm like, wow, I didn't realize
it's
this
here
character's
too.
thing was being horny.
That's right.
Yeah. What was I about to say about her? It was on the tip of my tongue and now it's gone. Oh well.
Matt, do you have any more memorable moments?
I mean, it's a real obvious one. I'm a real obvious guy, but the scene with Joshua where he's questioning himself and Estelle is immediately right there to prop him back up again. You know, I'm a simple person with simple tastes, and seeing that good, you know, being there for each other stuff gives me the warm fuzzies.
Yeah, I really like it a whole lot.
Go ahead.
I
was just gonna say it gives you an opportunity to really see that Estelle isn't just a one-note character, because she hasn't had a whole lot of time for that so far. I mean, we're not super far into the game, but you know, she's not a Dragon Ball Z Goku. She's a Dragon Ball Goku with like the opportunity to develop a character that isn't just, you know, a fist on legs. And I really, like, I don't think she necessarily needs it, having, for spoiler reasons, but putting it this early in the game, I'm really sure between this scene and the scene last week where Joshua is doing the same for her, like, I'm sure that there's lots of people where that hooked them in on Estelle as a character.
Yeah, this prologue does a really good job of like making you understand that this isn't going to be your normal ass JRPG. It's going to be a hanging out and like character study on all of these characters, and it definitely lets you know that it's going to be something unique and
it does a good job of fooling you at the beginning. You know, right? They introduce you to Estelle, headstrong protagonist. Joshua, counter...
Sasuke.
Yeah, Sasuke. Sad boy, dad, horny teacher lady. Let's go. we've seen this before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it immediately takes that whole shelf and pushes it over.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so good.
Yeah, I really, really like it. Let's see. So a couple that I had is so after Estelle's pep talk to Joshua, she says something about how he's sharing his feelings, and so it's a win in his book. And he says, "I don't know what your point is, but I'm amazed that you could just stand there and say something as embarrassing as that with a straight face." And her response is, "Well, I got a whole lot more of that where that came from." And
I forgot about
like
that.
her.
That's so good.
yeah, she's like,
I love the portrait that they use when she says things like that. It's just sort of like a smug smile. It's really good.
The portrait work is phenomenal. It's really good in the evolution version as well. They redid all of the portraits, and I don't know which ones I like more. The evolution version is way more anime, but they're just so expressive. Normally, your portraits either don't ever move at all, or they have like regular and yelling. This one has smug, shocked, surprised, happy, sad, angry, slightly perturbed. Like it's a whole gamut of emotions, and I love it.
Do you mind if I expand a little bit on that? Because it's not just our main cast either, which I love. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know if you paid attention to the mayor's sprite work, but it's really good too. And like, I don't even remember your name.
It's Klaus.
I should remember that. I had an uncle named Klaus, or a great uncle named something, but I won't. He's the mayor.
Yeah.
But like, even just the flyaways that change direction when he's like happy or sad or regular, which is also sad looking. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that it's not just the main cast, and that's really cool too.
Yeah. Another one that I really liked is on the streetlight quest. You get it from the guy at the ornament shop, and he's like, "Hey, this is the password. Go in the combination to get inside and fix it. You have to do that." And Estelle's like, "I don't know if I can remember it." And so you get out there, and Josh was like, "Okay, well, since the light is out, the monsters are coming. So one of us needs to fend off the monsters. The other one put in the password, and you can choose who does what. And if you get Estelle, who says, 'Well, I don't know if I can remember it,' you can make her do the password, and then you have to do like guessing the password correctly out of like a list of different ones, and figure it out there. Or you can pick Estelle as the one to fight, and you just fight the boss fight. And I like the fact that like it commits to the bit of you can pick who does what and divvy up the work that way. And it's not like the two alternate versions of the same scene. It's like, oh, you get two different scenes and see it from two different sides, which I thought was super cool.
That's neat. I sort of assumed if I chose Estelle to enter the password, she would just forget and I'd get fewer bracer points. I didn't know I'd have a chance to enter the password.
Yeah, you do, and it's pretty cool.
Which I think it's 544818.
It is 544818.
Oh, why do I remember that? I have a legendarily bad memory. Why do I remember that?
Yeah, there's something about numbers in video games that they just stick in your head forever. Like the other day, I was connecting to someone's computer, and I had to type in a 6-digit code, and that code was 117343, and I was just like, "Ooh, oh my god, it's Master Chief and 343 Guilty Spark all at the same time." And
Nice.
it's like I can't not think of all these things when I see numbers in the wild. Another all-time great memorable moment is in this week. So you're going down in the mine, and you get the crystal, and it's like, yeah, look at this big ass honking crystal. It's so shiny. And Estelle's like, oh my god, it is so shiny. Look at the way it shines in the light. Like, it makes me just want to like run around everywhere with it. So she does, and she just runs in circles for like 30 seconds.
So
just running in circles with this light, with this crystal, to see all the light bouncing off of it. And it's so great. And afterwards she's like, sorry, don't know what came over me. It was just really pretty. And Josh was like, don't worry, I won't tell anybody. And then the moment you get back, and he's like, oh, this was a gift for the queen. He was like, oh, well, Estelle, you probably should have been running around like a madman with the thing earlier. She's like, God, I told you not to tell anybody. That's so good. My last one that I had before I drum up some more to pad out this content, because I cut out too much in my notes.
I have a lot.
Awesome. So my last one before Bernard's is Dorothy, just in general, but specifically her psych up routine. So she gets out there to take pictures of the tower, and she's like fumbling and awkward and everything, and she can't get a good picture. And Niall's like, look, just do the thing. I know you need to do the thing to get into the zone. Just do it so we can get the picture. We can get out of here. And Josh and Estelle are like, what? And so then she's like, all right, Esmeralda's Tower, you sexy beast, you're a tiger. And she just starts like doing all the cliche model cameraman lines to the fucking tower and jumping everywhere, taking all the pictures. It's phenomenal. She's great. Love her.
Yes. My last two notes in my memorable moments are in my memorable moments note thing on my phone are Dorothy, I love her, and Niall, I love him.
Yeah.
I like how Niall is in his, we don't know exactly how old he is, but he's in his 20s, but he's the sort of 20-something who already has no idea what a teenager is. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I think when I was a teenager or 20 or 21, I thought that was weird. But by the time I was 26, I'm like, no, I get it.
Yeah. What the fuck are teenagers?
Yes. So another one, the farm is so fucking idyllic. It's so nice. It's so pretty. The music is so good.
Yeah.
And the music that plays when it's nighttime is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
the farm music, the name of it on the OST is a cat relaxing in the sun, which is a perfect name for that track. It's
nice.
So nice.
And then my last note here is the Mulga mine music is fucking buck wild.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
It's so much music for just going to this fucking mine. You can really tell this is the same company that made Ys.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is the Falcom JDK. They can't just put in an ambient sound effect. It has to be fucking extra.
Yeah.
Always on 11.
Absolutely. I guess another weird thing that happens is when Dorothy, who I love, is getting ready to take the shot and she's being all serious, she falls asleep, which is hilarious. And then Niall goes up and hits her or pinches her or something to wake her up, and she's like, "Oh my god, that really hurt." And I'm like, "You are her coworker and her superior at work. You're not supposed to do that."
This is not a professional work environment, guys.
Not at all.
but I still love them.
Me too.
I actually, we talk about how this game's state changes so much. I actually popped into the Orbment Factory a bit before she was introduced, and I went and talked to her because I just saw some cute characters standing there. And to my surprise, she had a portrait, and she was just saying, like, oh, this is so cute, and not talking to Estelle and Joshua. And then her portrait was so cute, I was so excited to actually meet her later on. And I'm glad I didn't have to wait long. And then it turns out the cute thing she was looking at, she broke, so Niall had to pay for it.
I love that moment in JRPGs where you go and you talk to some random NPC and they have a face and you're like, oh, you're going to be important later. I'm going to remember where you are. But
I've got one more, but it's dumb because it's just another chest line.
Go for it.
The only picture I took from last week, you open the empty chest and stare inside. The chest stares back accusingly. It's so extra.
I love it.
But
Why did they do this with the chest? It's so much.
It's so much. There's so many chests in this game. There's one. Go ahead.
I am honestly surprised this game doesn't have party chat just because of how ridiculous it is.
Yeah. I feel it doesn't need it because it just makes the party chat the text.
Yeah.
And it's just everywhere. But another chest message in the top of Ismelis Tower, you can find a potluck in a shell cooking item. And so you can unlock it a little early if you go up there. And if you look at the empty chest, it's like you might want to sit and think about how long that potluck has been in this chest before you eat it. And it's so good. I love all the garbage in this game.
There's just so much garbage in this game.
I have immediately forgotten the excitement of finding an item in a chest. And it has been replaced with, okay, but what does it say after I get this garbage?
Yeah, you're like, whoop-de-doo, Ultima weapon. I don't care. What's in the box?
What's in the bottom of the box?
Well, you see at the bottom of the box is a piece of string, but if you pull the string, it reveals a secret compartment where there's pictures of SpongeBob at the Christmas party.
Isn't it weird? Like, I'm not usually a wanna feel old or I still think the 90s were 5 years ago guy, but isn't it weird how when you reference classic SpongeBob, you're referencing something that's about 2 decades old?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
We,
What's
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to go on a SpongeBob tangent because so this week Summer was like, I want to binge a reality show, and so I want to binge Teen Mom, and so we looked and it was on Paramount Plus. So we resubscribed to it, and we were going to like knock out our Star Trek and stuff while we were there, but it ended up not working, and so we're pirating it because Paramount Plus sucks. But we noticed that because their big push is like, oh, this is all of the Viacom channels all under one thing. And normally that would be a big win if they did it the way that HBO or Netflix or Hulu or anybody is doing it, where you get it like the next day. But no, it's all the Viacom stuff, but like 4 seasons out of date. It's like you have, like for Teen Mom, you had seasons 1 through 6, and they're on season 13 right now. So it's like, what do you do for 7 fucking seasons? Like,
these moms aren't even teens anymore.
Yeah, it's like, it's so dumb. And SpongeBob was the same way, where they only had 13 out of 17 seasons of SpongeBob, and it's like, come on, like, why not just give you everything the next day? It's like, it's not, it feels like it's not adding any value by adding in this old stuff, because it's not like, oh, this is now the destination to go to SpongeBob. It's like, no, you still have to go to the airwaves to get current SpongeBob. But
I also have a
That was
SpongeBob
it.
tangent,
go
but
for
it
it.
is another one of those, oh god, I feel so old moments. I have, let's see. My twin nephews are just approximately teenagers now. And one of them, they've hit the point where they now have cell phones and they're excited that they have cell phones. So they're texting everybody. And one of them texts me a YouTube video. It's like, hey, did you ever see this old clip from SpongeBob? And it's the halftime show episode.
Yeah.
And
the most iconic moment from all of our respective childhoods.
right. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, old clip. I was a kid when this was on TV. I watched it when they showed it. I'm like, oh. I'm old now. But we still have SpongeBob.
We do. But any other SpongeBob memorable moments before we wrap up?
I also really like the...
I keep...
Sorry, Bernard.
I keep seeing ads for Paramount Plus where they're like, here's this new show about SpongeBob where they're babies. And
Is that a
here's
real
baby
thing?
Sandy and baby SpongeBob being friends. And I'm like, no. In I believe it's the fucking second episode of SpongeBob, SpongeBob and Sandy meet for the first time as adults.
Mm-hmm.
Especially at the Tree Dome.
Yep. And it's an amazing episode, and also Squidward is the same age as everyone, but apparently he is a camp counselor in this show. And the clips I saw from it were like pretty funny. They weren't like classic SpongeBob funny, and they weren't quite the late seasons of SpongeBob, because growing up, everyone said that SpongeBob stopped being good after like season 3, and that was just, we were too old to think things were cool for a while. SpongeBob never got bad. It was like every season is phenomenal. But the Camp Coral isn't even like to the later seasons level. It's just kind of like enjoyable.
Are we... Is that where we are?
But it fucks with all of the lore, and I'm very adamant about my SpongeBob lore.
Is that the cycle we are at, or back at, with cartoons where everything gets a baby reboot?
I fucking guess.
This is the second one recently. I know the Total Drama Island series was rebooted where they were all babies, and now SpongeBob. And I feel there was another one kind of recently as well, and it sucks. I hate it.
I just can't believe all the SpongeBob characters grew up in the same orphanage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a mod I would play. Final Fantasy VIII, but it's all SpongeBob.
Yes.
My favorite thing about that stupid ass twist is it's not even the twist of the game. Like, the twist of the game is like interesting and nuanced and cool, and I like it. But then there's also this other, we all went to the same orphanage twist, just like hanging out, standing in the way of the stupid Japanese sci-fi crazy bullshit that's happening the rest of the game.
I don't want
that fucking game.
I don't want to call you out or something, but you said we all went to the same orphanage, which is hilarious. Like,
like you had a choice.
I went to orphanage today.
Yeah. Orphanage is just the school, right?
Had a good time at orphanage.
Then I went home.
Told my parents about orphanage.
I'm still stuck on Final Fantasy VIII SpongeBob. Instead of Squall saying whatever, it's just SpongeBob doing his dumb arm dance. And, oh god, what's his name would be Patrick, and he would be the best.
Zek.
It's not Zidane.
No.
But it's the Z guy.
He's the Ryuji of Final Fantasy
the face tattoo.
Yeah.
Hold on.
No, okay, no, here it is. I think just given his personality and everything, Squall would actually be Squidward, and then Cypher would be Squilliam.
Yes.
I mean, you're not wrong, but also I was kind of imagining what's her name being Squidward. I have
Quistis?
not Quistis, the love interest.
Renoa.
No.
Yes.
Why would she not be Sandy Cheeks?
I think Sandy would be the cowboy, the sniper. Yeah. What's his name? Irving?
Definitely. Yes.
Sandy is clearly the cowboy. That's why.
The guy who wears the cowboy hat. That's Sandy.
It's true. And then, see, it's all coming for a full circle when all the Laguna portions can just be the Camp Coral timeline. There we go. But I'm going to go ahead and call it for this episode.
we managed to reach an hour, if only just.
Yeah. So, if you liked this episode, good for you. But the series, it couldn't happen without the support of our Ko-Fi backers. So thanks to everyone who's been supporting us. If you're listening to this in the after times when it's on the main podcast feed, you can come join us over at www.rpgbook.club, where there's a lot more episodes waiting for you, and you can start getting them a month before everybody else. Next week, we will be playing all of Chapter 1. Cutting it up into 2 pieces made it more manageable gameplay time, but not episode time. So if this starts becoming bi-weekly because of that, that'll be fine. But we'll be playing Chapter 1 for the next time you hear us. If for some reason it is actually too long, we'll break it up. We're basically just going to play some, and then we'll talk about it, but we're shooting for all of Chapter 1. But, for Book Club no Kiseki, I've been Sam Allman.
I have been and will continue to be David Bernard Houck.
Matt, did we lose you? I guess we did.
What?
We were saying our names.
Just say your name.
Matt Jorgensen.
Adios, amigos.
I'm glad we're going with that for our sign-off.